I think it should be important to Americans. It's an American art form, and people really don't even know that. You know, they think nowadays people think of jazz as being Kenny G, and I mean, in every type of music you hear, there's jazz in it. Hip hop, R&B, you know, rock. I mean, there's some type of jazz influence in that music. You know, it can be the blues, the roots. You know, I mean, it goes way back, and I think that's one thing that people don't realize, and especially like the younger generation, they think of jazz as being like a bunch of like 80, 90-year-old musicians playing like, you know, Dixieland style of jazz, which is great music, but that's a different type of jazz. It's not like the jazz that I'm playing. I'm trying to keep one foot in the past and one foot in the present, and I'm trying to mix those two together, so it doesn't sound like it's real traditional. It still has a little bit of I call it like postmodern bebop. Like instead of playing just traditional bebop, it's postmodern bebop because you're playing original compositions in that vein and that style, and with a little bit of your own influences. You know, you can have some hip hop influences in your bebop compositions where people can recognize like a certain beat or rhythm. They're like, wow, you know, I've heard this rhythm before, and that kind of attracts people that really don't know a whole lot about jazz. I mean, that's where the word fusion came from when it comes to music. You know, like in the late 60s and 70s, the whole thing with Miles and what he did with the music. I mean, I mean, if you listen to old recordings of Miles from like the late 70s, that sounds like rock, you know, and it's still jazz, you know. I mean, you weren't hearing a lot of traditional jazz in that period. I mean, I talked to a lot of older musicians, and they're like, hey, you know, during that time, during like the late 70s, or like even the whole like 1969 through like 79, I talked to a lot of musicians, and I hear kind of like the same stories, that they had to get day jobs. Some of them had to be, you know, truck drivers, and it's like these are like world-class musicians because like nobody wanted to hear traditional jazz at that time, and it's just like I can't imagine myself living in that time period. You know, that must have been really difficult for like the jazz purist, like someone who just wanted to play jazz and not really experiment and take it to the next level in terms of like fusion and playing more of like funk and rock. So you had to choose. You had to, you know, either sell out. I mean, it's kind of the same now with smooth jazz. To me, it's like the smooth jazz is like, you know, if you want to sell out and make money and be a kind of a corny jazz musician, then hey, if that's what you really want to do it. But if you want to be a purist and stay loyal to your music and to your art form, then you have to just kind of just fight it and stick to it. If you go hear Britney Spears at a live concert, she's going to play the song exactly like it is on the recording that you have at home. Nothing's going to change. Nothing. Not one thing. Even the solos are exactly the same. Even if it's just like a 2-bar little keyboard solo, it's going to be exactly the same. Nothing's going to change. The beauty of jazz is that it's going to be different every time. It's going to be like a new song every time you hear it. And that's why when you play a standard, I mean, if I played All the Things You Are maybe like, gosh, 200-300 times at least, and it's never been the same twice. So that's a good example there. And just explore. I mean, that's the beauty of jazz. It's like you're a scientist and you're just trying to figure out that formula to take it to the next level, as far as, you know, just mixing and matching and trying different things. And you know, that's where you're gonna do it, is on stage. Is even if you make a mistake, make it loud, because you won't make it the second time. If you make a mistake kind of quietly and softly, then you're gonna do it again because nobody heard it. But if you make it really loud and you make that statement, then you won't do it again. It'll be like, oh, okay, that didn't work, and obviously the audience doesn't think it's going to work, so I'm never going to try that again. That's a sour note. As far as playing the trumpet, just to take care of your chops, not just, you know, not to take your horn straight out of the case and blow. You have to warm up properly. You have to warm down after you play. I mean, those are important things that a lot of the younger kids that are playing now don't really know. They think that just playing high notes is a gift from God. It's like it's more than that. You have to actually really warm up properly. I mean, it's going to catch up to you if you don't. I mean, for example, there's some of the great jazz trumpet players that can barely even play now because they didn't really take care of their chops, throughout their careers. Have your business together too. Not only I'm not talking about playing your instrument and performing, but as far as getting your name out there and promoting yourself and just pretty much. For example, when I released my first record, I mean, I really worked hard to get the word out. I called every jazz station. I mean, that's what I mean by that. It's like practicing. You have to set time aside to do that. Like, for example, maybe I'll spend like an hour on the phone just making business calls and keep, bugging people until they say, okay, you can work here, we'll let you play here. And that's how it starts. A lot of the younger musicians don't realize that that's a big part of it. I mean, you can be the greatest player in the world, but if you're not hungry for it and you want to go out and get the work, you're never going to work. And that's one thing I learned. Dizzy Gilliespie was a businessman, and that's like one thing that I really learned a lot from him is that you really have to go out and just take care of your business and let people know that you're out there and that you're ready to work. With promo packages and press kits, whatever the case might be. When I write, I'm improvising. When I'm composing, it's not something that I have in my mind, it's something that I'm trying to create on the spot. And when it comes to composing, a lot of the times I'll compose a piece just with the trumpet first. Like maybe I'll be driving home from a gig and something will pop into my head and I'll, oh yeah, that sounds cool, and then I'll play around with that, and then I'll kind of keep adding to it, and then add some chords beneath the melody, and then before you know it, you have a complete tune. And so I think the improvisation part is everything. I mean, that's a big part of jazz to me. I mean, that is jazz, being creative with everything, not just playing your instrument and soloing over changes, but composing as well. I mean, even like Dizzy Gilliespie, what I said earlier, he's the one who told me that. He said, if you want to move jazz and take it to another level, you can't. It's not going to stay the same all the time. It's not going to be just bebop or just swing, or just trad jazz. I mean, it's going to keep going. And you have to think that way. You have to keep half of your brain in the past and the other in the future, in terms of playing the music. You have to have roots, and you have to know the history when you're playing the music. But at the same time, you have to add your own thing to it and keep it fresh, and just keep it fresh and new. We were talking about ideas, like when I compose. Same thing with being creative with, like for example, if I play something that I've been working on that I came up with, it's just playing off a major scale, like I came up, I heard that on the radio, or came up with it somehow. And I think it's part of a song. And what I did, I learned that in every key, and I made it part of my everyday warm up, and I use that now, and it's like an exercise that I just kind of came up with. And what I do now, I play it in a major with I apply it to a major scale, and then I apply it to a minor scale. So the effect with the major scale is, and then I would add it to a minor. So, just coming up with your own ideas and playing them in every key and having them down in every key, so that when you're playing a tune, you can apply your own ideas to that particular tune. And it's just coming up with your own ideas. It's like, Bird had his thing, Clifford Brown had his thing, Dizzy Gilliespie had. I mean, they worked out their own patterns and their own vocabulary, and that's what you have to do. You have to kind of create your own vocabulary, your own language. You have to pretty much come up with your own language, and that's what I try to do when I practice and be creative. I mean, it's really nice when people say, "Hey, you sound like Clifford Brown," or "You sound like Freddie Hubbard." I don't get that a lot, but I like to hear that. But I would like to get it to the point where people say, "Hey, man, you know, you have your own. You sound like yourself. You don't sound like anybody else." I mean, I think that'll be the biggest compliment to any musician. Yeah, we were pretty popular when we were out. We released several records. One on Columbia Records, one on Impulse. We did something for Red Records, which is a label out of Italy. And we were Wynton Marsalis's opening act for like 4 months. We toured the States with him, and we toured Europe with him too. And I mean, that was at his peak as well. So it was like an honor to be on the same tour with Wynton Marsalis and his band, and getting a chance to. I mean, it was a little intimidating for me being the trumpet player in the band, having to open up for Wynton Marsalis. But I really did learn a lot from that experience. And it was a great. I mean, being surrounded with your peers that are great players. I mean, that's just, what more can you ask for, you know? I learned a lot from them as far as writing. I mean, James Mahone, the alto saxophone player in the band, stylistically, I learned a lot from him, how to write and compose, and even the sound, how to get a pretty sound. He had such a beautiful tone from the alto that it didn't really sound like anybody else's sound. I mean, he sounded like himself, and that really kind of stuck to me at a young age, that I really wanted to strive and try to have that, you know, for myself, to have my own individual sound.